Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we discuss the astrological energies of March 19th through the 26th, as we are moving through a delicious eclipse sandwich right now with that Virgo lunar eclipse just occurring on March 14th and the upcoming Aries solar eclipse happening on March 29th. So this week, as we move in between eclipses, the energies are very unstable and dynamic with potentially higher highs and lower lows. This eclipse season also has the two retrograde planets, Venus and Mercury, taking us back into what we thought we wanted and wanted to move towards, and asks us to look at it with a fresh lens, see it in a new way, and don't rush ahead to any quick decisions. So we basically are trying to align with multiple frequencies at once, stretching us, pulling us, and then also requiring a slowdown. It's quite confusing, and if that's what you are feeling, then I hope this validates it at some level. Eclipses bring about big life changes where we need to pivot or reposition. We can feel or know instantly what we have to move away from and be done with. And that alone can be shocking and jarring. It can also be emotional. So there's a lot going on right now that is stirring up what we need to adapt to and change. And this is part of 2025 taking us into new territory, asking us to look at a new dream, a new direction, a new beginning point that will in fact pay off and be a better fit for you, even if it doesn't seem like it right now. Now, we're not quite at that next eclipse point, as again, that occurs on Saturday, March 29th. But this week, you could certainly have a sense of feeling in between timelines, feeling stretched in one direction, really connecting with the future and what your future self is delivering and promising and pulling in. And then the next minute, you could feel that you are being grabbed by the ankle back in to previous experiences, realities, or timelines that you thought you had closed out and completed. So this can be a very interesting time and quite confusing, in fact, since the overlapping timelines are more dramatic right now, more extreme and bigger. Now we are approaching the Aries Equinox, which is exact on March 20th at 5:01 a.m. Eastern Time, which is when the sun moves to 0 degrees of Aries and begins a whole new journey around the calendar and astrological wheel. This is known as the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, the fall equinox in the southern hemisphere, and it's actually when both hemispheres experience roughly the same amount of daylight and nighttime. There can be more equilibrium and balance points with the equinox energies, and we experience the equinox twice a year during the Aries ingress and the Libra ingress 6 months from now. But this is also a significant time because it activates the 0 energy field. This is a world degree point as well, where that Aries 0 degrees is the point of new creation, is where the intentions gain manifestation power, and whatever you are intending on a 0 energy field is what you're signaling to the universe that you wish to develop and create. Now, this particular 0 degree point has greater significance into 2026 because not only is the sun entering Aries as it does every year, but we're also going to see Neptune in Aries move back and forth across this 0 degree Aries point 3 times into early 2026, with the first entry being the end of this month on March 30th. Then we're also going to see Saturn move across the same point of creation 3 times, starting in late May of this year and again until February of 2026, where Neptune and Saturn will be conjunct at 0 degrees 48 minutes of Aries at this 0 degree point, and begin a new synodic cycle together that also demonstrates what we want to create in our new world. So this has many ramifications and potentials. This is actually more than just your typical equinox that we move through every year. This is the sun bringing your light of consciousness and your desire to create something fresh and new to your awareness here on March 20th. And then knowing that over the next 11 months, Neptune and Saturn will be activating this same energy for you as well. This means the power of intentionality, creation, and manifestation is extremely strong right now, more so than ever before in our lifetimes. Neptune begins a new 165-year cycle. Saturn begins a new 30-year cycle. And we are ready to give birth to new experiences and chapters in our soul's existence that perhaps we've never had before on this planet. And I don't mean for that to sound like hyperbole, but that is what the astrology reveals, is that we're really moving into a powerful new form of existence. And part of it is that we don't know what it's going to look like exactly. And that's because the Aries energy is the starting point, the ignition that gets the energy going. And as the energy moves, develops, grows, and blossoms, it starts to take shape and form. So the interesting energy signature here is that even though Aries can be one of the most fast-moving energies, Neptune and Saturn are slow. This is a slower creation journey. And in fact, it's something that we're going to be figuring out, perhaps wrestling with, coming to terms with, gaining clarity around until February 2026. And so this is important to note here for long-term planning. As the sun enters Aries on March 20th, where do you want to be a year from now? What does that next level dream look like? Where do you want to meet your energy field in our time-space continuum in 12 months? What do you want to create? And you could be receiving those messages, inspirations, and downloads over the course of the next 12 months that make you impatient, perhaps give you doubt or frustration because it's not happening soon enough. But there's always a divine purpose to how the universe works and how things unfold. So during this week, remain very intentional and clear in what you want to experience as the creator of your reality. You are responsible for that. You are responsible for living a life that you love, that matters to you, that resonates with your values, your dreams, your desires, your hopes. You are responsible for that. And when you hold yourself to that level of responsibility, you're also affirming that you are ready for it, that you want it, and the universe knows that. The universe receives that message of your energy and then comes through to support you in what you need for those next steps. This is a time to be in your power as a creator of your existence, and to own it however that looks for you. So doing anything that gives you clarity and understanding could be quite beneficial. This means anything where you're visualizing what that looks like and what you want next in your life, whether that is a vision board or a manifestation list, pictures on your fridge, reminders on your phone, whatever the case may be. What do you need to return to your core empowerment? Because the sun moves across this point fairly quickly. The sun only stays in a degree point for 24 hours and then moves on and continues forward, of course. So this is where we want to be very strong and clear, and note that the energy is going to shift and change as Neptune gets to this 0 degree point, and then Saturn arrives as well. Now, I did a whole program on these energies and this dance. It's called Your Soul's Next Beginning Point, and it is available for you to check out. It has 8 videos discussing more of the particulars of this energy, including Saturn and Neptune moving into Aries and then back into Pisces. And it also pulls in Venus and Mercury retrograding now in Aries back into Pisces. So there's a lot of rich content there that can help you understand more of what is changing for you as our souls arrive at our next beginning points. And that's really what this week is highlighting. And if you're like, I don't know, Molly, I'm just trying to get through the chaos in the world. I'm trying to get to the kids' gymnastics meet. I'm trying to figure out what's for dinner. Yes, we're all doing that. But this is important. Okay, I'm going to call it out. I'm going to say this matters. If you are really going to be intentional in living your life, this is where everything that you're doing on a daily basis and all the ways that we are in autopilot, that continues. I get it because I'm doing it too. But this is where you deserve to connect with what you really want in this life, to step out of one timeline, of that autopilot timeline, and access more of what is opening up for you that the universe will bring your way. So don't allow the busyness or distractions of the world to take you away from the other potentialities that exist. Because what happens over time is that you are detached from living a life that you really want. The months pass and the years pass, and you're just going through the motions and you're doing what you need to do. But this is not a normal time on this planet. This is where things are changing in very big ways, and we're all doing the best we can to navigate it. And I just want to invite you into a more expansive potential of your life that you might not find in the day-to-day grind, but that your soul is holding for you until you're ready to claim it. And this is the energy of claiming what you want. Now, right after the equinox energies, we have on March 21st, Venus retrograde in Aries, sextiles Pluto in Aquarius at 3 degrees, 22 minutes of Aquarius. Pluto is in new territory here, opening up more in the Aquarius expressions than we've experienced, showing us new ways of being ourselves and accepting who we are. And that is part of what the sextile to Venus retrograde in Aries can connect you with. And right after, on March 22nd, we have Venus retrograde in Aries conjunct the Sun at 2 degrees. And then the Sun has a sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. So March 21st to March 23rd, there is a powerful reignition of energy in the solar plexus related to very deep power you've held across multiple lifetimes that perhaps you feel you are calling in to work with now at a more evolved level of your being. This is being aware of who you are, who you have been, who you came here to be outside of the time-space continuum. This is the eternalness of your soul coming through these early degrees of Aries, reminding you of who you are at a core level of your energy field that's connected to your soul's essence, where you came in with huge amounts of personal power, strength, confidence, self-love, self-knowingness, and self-empowerment to be an active and alive version of your soul in this timeline. The Venus star point is when Venus is retrograde, exactly conjunct the Sun, which creates a new Venus, similar to a new moon, but it plays out over an 8-year cycle. This new Venus is revitalizing who you are at a core level of your being. And with the assistance here of Pluto, it's providing more strength, power, and fortitude to be yourself. A very deep rebirth is underway. There also can be some big reprogramming around the root chakra. If you've previously have had fears, things that have held you back from being who you are, if you have felt limited, suppressed, or caged, this is also where you could feel some of those energies from other lifetimes, where you met your death, where you experienced very harsh circumstances and very big attacks or violence to your sense of self. The root chakra holds all of that. And so there can be reprogramming here where you now feel safer on the planet. You feel more comfortable in your soul skin and who you are. And there is deep reprogramming that also is working with the third eye chakra. And that's where Pluto in Aquarius is currently residing. That Pluto energy is reprogramming our third eye chakra into more multidimensional scopes of frequencies where the third eye is expanding and growing, lighting up more of our psychic senses and abilities. And that in turn is speaking to that root chakra that says, I'm safe to be here because not only do I know who I am, I have faced things in other lifetimes that have provided me with more strength, but I'm also more tuned in psychically to understand if there are any dangers, threats, or fears that I need to be aware of. And if so, I have what I need to move through that and to remain in my power without diminishing or holding back who I am. Many light workers are going to be lit up during this equinox week. Many starseeds, energy readers, empaths, I feel are going to have a deep reprogramming around their energy, even tapping into what parts of themselves have been overactive, what has been too large, for example, like if that heart chakra has been too big, too caring, too empathetic, then you might realize it's time to rein it in. I don't need to do all of that for everyone because it only depletes me. In fact, any overactive chakra can reveal where our energy goes outside of ourselves too much, and it can be quite unconscious. This relates as well to addictions. If there are certain addictions or certain patterns that are too big or too dominant in your world, it could relate to that chakra looking for something outside of itself, seeking connection, love, validation, approval, safety. Whatever the case may be, it could be showing you where that needs to be healed and reprogrammed at a core level and brought into more of a healthier state. So these are big themes. These are big life themes. What you have previously identified with or how you have previously identified yourself is going to be transforming during this equinox week because of the influence here of Pluto, not only sextiling the sun in Aries, which is the sense of self, the subjective viewpoint of who you are, what you want, what you create, how you live your life. But we also have Venus in the mix with that Venus star point. And wait, there's one more, Mercury retrograde. Yes, Mercury retrograde then moves through this same pattern, makes a conjunction to the sun in Aries at 4 degrees on March 24th, and then sextiles Pluto in Aquarius at 3 degrees on March 25th. So you can see here that as the equinox energy begins and we enter into that 0 point field of potentials and existence, we then have multiple energies showing up to assist us in becoming a more powerful version of yourself. This is a very rare alignment. This is not something that happens often. In fact, it's never happened in our lifetime. And I know I say that a lot and we talk about all these rare transits, but it's true. And it's worth noting that this connection between Pluto and Aquarius with the 3 planets in Aries, we're feeling it at a core level. And yes, Venus and Mercury are retrograde, but that's a good thing because it means that, first of all, they already sextiled Pluto for the first time when they were direct. This is the second time this week that they're sextiling, and because they're retrograde, they're more receptive. They are taking in more of what Pluto is saying to support their regeneration. And then after Venus and Mercury station direct, they will have the third and final sextile to Pluto in Aquarius. So this is a bigger deal than what meets the eye, and you might be feeling these shifts in ways you didn't experience or anticipate, but that's also how Pluto works. Pluto works through our psychology. It challenges us to go deeper and look at the fears. Look at what you don't want to look at, and don't just look at it, but feel it. Feel what's uncomfortable. Feel what sucks. Feel what has been really dark or what you thought was just your shadow. But even that has beautiful messages for us. The shadow holds parts of your consciousness to understand, embrace, and allow so that you can be in a state of seeing it for what it is. Pluto pulls us into our fears. And this isn't only the fears of our darkness. This could be the fear of your light, the fear of your power, the fear of how you can elevate into a really beautiful version of yourself that you never thought possible. But maybe that has uncertainties. Maybe that feels conditional. And conditionality is very human. We can put conditions on many things. But what this is inviting you to look at is, well, what if it meant the universe fully supported you, and that as you moved into more of your truth, of who you really are, of what you're really capable of, and you fully owned it, what would it be like to walk in the world with that level of self-love and confidence? Imagine what that would mean when you don't care about certain things like you used to, or you're not afraid of certain things that used to be terrifying. See, this is the depth of transformation that's possible here, but we have to have the strength to really see it for what it is and to claim it. The Pluto sextiles help us with that. And so there can be, again, more shifts, more things that change for you that you're surprised about, that feel encouraging and uplifting. This energy also can make you more decisive about what you want and what you don't want. You could have more clarity in your third eye chakra that shows you, I'm done with this, I'm over this, I'm through with that. There could just be this peaceful sense of what is correct for you and what is not. And this is the dominant energy of the week. So even though there are 5 separate transiting aspects here, they're all speaking to each other. They are all working together, reiterating the same theme and the same transformational journey, the deeper reprogramming and recalibrating that we are ready for, and that also puts us in alignment with where we're moving and the new frequencies that we are moving into. There is a lot of empowerment this week. And again, it's in the early degrees of Aries, from 0 to 4 degrees of Aries in your chart, where a new part of your consciousness is being birthed and coming through. Now, all this Aries energy is ruled by Mars, and Mars is still in Cancer, moving forward, and makes a square to Chiron in Aries at 21 degrees on March 26th. This would be an injury. This would be a slowdown. It's not a good time to operate heavy machinery unnecessarily. Don't play with matches, and try not to rush, because there could be more breaks or cracks with this energy. Now, Mars has previously squared this Chiron in Aries 2 times before. This is the 3rd and final square. And so there could be a transition here where the Chiron pain is being healed. It no longer hurts as it initially did. And just for reference, Mars first squared this Chiron, where they were both at 21 degrees, back in the middle of October of last year, October 14th and 15th. And then the second square was in early February 4th at 19 degrees. So this 3rd and final pass between Mars in Cancer squaring Chiron in Aries could show you what has been slowly healing over time, even if it has been triggered or weakened. And that is just something to keep aware of here. Again, on March 26th, that 3rd and final square could reveal a weakening, or where you need more self-care, self-love, where it pays off to take it easy and go slow. And at a deeper level, acknowledge what you've been emotionally healing, what that emotional wound has been that has affected your sense of self, how you trust yourself, how you trust what you need, and can now reflect on it differently, since Mars has been shifting and changing through his retrograde journey. In other words, something could come back around that was the source of a painful conversation, situation, even something physically. And this is a checking in point to see how it's healing and how you're feeling, but to readily acknowledge that you're different now. So we've been talking about the power and strength of this next week with the strong Aries planets all meeting up through a sextile to Pluto. Well, right after they interact with Pluto and the Sun in Aries, both Venus and Mercury are going to re-enter Pisces and have a conjunction to Neptune. That's next week. I will get to that next week. But that's going to be even more of a softening, as well as a sense of feeling more detached and comfortable with the surrender. So basically, this intensity is not going to last for long if you're feeling a lot of it right now. There's a lot of fire here in the sky when we have 4 planets in Aries: Sun, Mercury, Venus, and Chiron, which encourages more action, motion, enthusiasm, creativity, and vitality. But we will still be dealing with a Pisces stellium through most of Aries season. This could be a week that you look for more time to yourself. You crave a way to be in your own energy and to trust what is coming up for you. There could be a sense here of needing to listen to your own guidance and to tune in to how your body feels around it. What messages are you receiving physically from your own energy field? And that's because Aries is the sign of our physical self emerging. It's how we take a body, show up in this human form, and then our awareness is what connects us to that. So there could be deeper activations here around your consciousness being embodied and what it means to take care of yourself in a whole new way. Again, the deep reprogramming that's unfolding with Pluto can happen while we're sleeping and resting, as well as while we're in motion and getting things done. So I think there's going to be a definite shift in how we feel our physical selves and what we need in order to feel at our optimum and best. I do feel that our root chakras are being reprogrammed with more multidimensional codes that helps us evolve out of the primal programming that we've needed for centuries on this planet. We are at a period of change that we're now adapting to new ways of being on the planet that tempers that fight or flight that is too extreme. It also allows us to look at how is my energy operating in a way that is healthy and supportive, and where do I know I'm ready to grow next. So there is a lot here around the rebirth of the root chakra, calling in and operating from higher multidimensional frequencies, and also perhaps receiving new tools and guidance to do so. I'm seeing a calming of that root chakra. I'm seeing it move and spin in a different way, and it's being able to adapt to the changes on the planet that we are learning to navigate in real time. It feels like there's no long rehearsal period here. There's no opportunity to stay behind the scenes and just keep practicing. It's like, nope, here we are, we're in it. It's on, it's go time. So now I've got to figure it out as I go and make the most of this beginning point. So again, the beginning point energies for you are showing up where you have these early degrees of Aries in your chart. Whichever house you have 0 to 4 degrees of Aries is where the energy is the most active. And that's where the energy is also communicating with Pluto at 3 degrees, 28 minutes of Aquarius. So you could look at where that transiting Pluto is in your chart, and there you would have the connection points between the two parts of yourself that are experiencing this renewal, rejuvenation, and rebirth. And I know I've said this before on the podcast, but this is where people are going to make new declarations around what they want in their life, what they're ready to try or move towards, what they want to shift or change. These can be shocking revelations too. There could be something out of the blue that jars you and you're like, I never thought I would be doing this, or that this person would make this decision. And that's what this energy is about, because it is directing people into more of our authentic energy frequency Pisces. And I feel too that as I look at this energy, it's really interesting. I'm seeing it on this linear timeline, that the Pisces stellium that we're continuing to move through is also signifying the rites of passage we've been earning across multiple lifetimes. And it's those rites of passage that we've had to move through experientially that gives us this new sense of ourselves. So I'm seeing it as, okay, rites of passage, things you've done, things your soul has moved through, experienced, obtained, and then ding, 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 you move up to the next level. Here's this rebirth, and it comes through in a way that maybe surprises you, but also validates your authentic frequency and what you came to experience on this planet at this time based on these big changes. And also the planets or points you have near 0 to 4 degrees of Aries, as well as near the early degrees of Aquarius. So 0 to 4 degrees of Aquarius as well. If you have planets or points conjunct there or within orb, you're going to have more fast moving changes this year. The pace is going to pick up and accelerate, especially in Aries, especially in Aquarius. So there's going to be more that comes together even faster for you. This would also pertain to any trines that happen. So any planets or points trining 0 to 4 degrees of Aries or 0 to 4 degrees of Aquarius. Now later this year, Pluto goes back to 1 degree of Aquarius, specifically 1 degree 22 minutes of Aquarius, the middle of October. So that's why 0 to 4 degrees of Aquarius is in play, because Pluto is in your neighborhood. Pluto is turning things up and permanently changing this area of your life. And now that it's interacting with the energies in Aries, it's birthing the new starts of who you are and what you want next. I know I've said that a million times in the podcast here, but the idea is then for you to apply that to your own chart and to look at the houses these energies are showing up for you in, as well as any planets or points that are conjunct or trine. So the trines would be for the Aries planets to Leo or Sagittarius, and for Aquarius, the trines would be to Gemini and Libra. So you can see how this focus on the air and fire signs is also related to where we're going later on in the decade when outer planets are all in the fire and air signs. So we are in a preliminary period of these energies ramping up, but we're really going to be sensing it more over the course of this week. And so I hope you feel that rising energy, a sense of who you are and what you want next. Remember, you can check out the program called Your Soul's Next Beginning Point as I guide you through more of the particulars of these energies as they move between Pisces and Aries, because there are a lot of moving pieces here and it can easily become confusing. I also have my next astrology gathering coming up on Friday, April 11th. If you would like to join us, it is live and online. It is a monthly astrology gathering where I discuss the astrology of April 2025, including the Libra full moon, Mercury direct, Venus direct, and the Taurus new moon. You can find information about it below the podcast here, and a replay will be available. You don't have to be there live if you can't make it, and you'll still get a lot out of the replay. And one more thing to share with you again that's coming up in May is the Gathering of the Shamans. This is a live in-person event happening May 2nd to May 4th in Sedona, Arizona at the Sedona Mago Retreat Center. A weekend of mystery, healing, and transformation with shamanic teachers and practitioners of many backgrounds. It will be a beautiful time of connecting with universal forces and seeing more subtle energy patterns in yourself and in the world. It starts on Friday night and will end midday on Sunday. All meals and lodging are included in the price as well. So I'll put the link below the podcast if you are interested in joining this retreat, Gathering of the Shamans, again, May 2nd, May 3rd, May 4th in Sedona, Arizona. Wishing you a beautiful journey as we move into Aries season and experience more of these powerful, potent energies. I'll be back every Monday and Wednesday with a new podcast episode for you as I look forward to continuing this conversation during these revolutionary times. If you are looking to expand more of your astrological knowledge and studies, please check out my website, mollymccord.online, where you will find a ton of my astrology programs and courses to assist you at whichever level of astrology you're at. Wishing you a beautiful Aries Equinox, friends, and I'll be back here soon for another podcast. Take good care.